Home. It means many different things to many different people. For most people, however, it is a place of comfort, a place of safety, a place of privacy. Home is a refuge. Behind the walls of our homes, we become unseen to the outside world. So how is it that those without homes are the most unseen? The DC metropolitan area is considered one of the wealthiest in the world. However, buried underneath that wealth is a marginalized world that most Americans would hardly recognize. This world is the world of poverty. 1 in 5 Americans live in this marginalized state of being every day. The government first began to supply these people with the major necessity in the Housing Acts of 1937 and 1949. Their goal was to build affordable housing which would house the urban poor, many of which whom came from social ghettos that fell into disrepair. It was aimed more towards helping white families, which resulted in more condensed areas of black people and enabled whites to depart. In 1994, there were 1.3 million public housing apartments, along with 800,000 families on the waiting lists. Even when families were accepted into these subsidized apartments, they were often isolated and many were filled with minorities who were reliant on welfare. As a result, these areas with affordable public housing were constantly filled with high unemployment rates, issues with drugs, teen pregnancy, crime, and single-parented families. Although the government has been making several efforts towards perfecting the low-income housing scheme, there are vast systemic problems that need to be addressed. Efforts to demolish slum neighborhoods and house the urban poor began in the 1940s, as the government's goal was to provide a decent, safe, and sanitary living environment for every American.
Programs such as the RED program, whereas we're taking, like I said, the public housing and making them voucher, therefore we're able to give money and refurbish our units.
Public housing has in many ways fulfilled its goal. It has definitely given poor and destitute people a suitable refuge to call their own, and as a result, it has given them a chance at having a life that would have previously been near to impossible. While not many people qualify for public housing, the option of low-income housing still remains to help those who may have barely missed the quota. Once their basic need of having a place to live in and call their own is fulfilled, the door is open to various possibilities. There were also various acts passed to aid in the creation and maintenance of public housing, especially in the 1980s and 1990s, when efforts were made to create better housing units. However, to improve the people's quality of life, the government was forced to raise the prices of rent fees. As a result, these areas in which public housing and low-income housing were available became unsafe. In such areas of concentrated poverty, crime began to fester. While the goal of providing shelter to the people was fulfilled, the goal of creating a safe environment for the people was not. To help the government reach their goal of safety in these neighborhoods, various organizations have taken the initiative to attend. There's a special program called the Tune In program that enables children from low-income homes or families to take music classes there for free. There are many organizations similar to Peabody Present that are created to help those living in public housing. Overall, the aim of these institutions is to make the community a better place.
I've made more friends here. They taught me about how they live, and we share little stories and ensemble before practice. So
impact that I see is the social impact with students. It's really interesting. In my band specifically, I have students from very low-income housing as well as students whose parents probably easily make 6 figures, and they're all friends. The kids treat each other like family. They take care of each other. it certainly keeps them off the streets because we're here pretty late at night sometimes, and you know, they're home either practicing their instruments because they've got tough music to work on, or they're here with us, and sometimes we drive them home, and so I know that they're getting home safe.
While the government had benefited the people by creating such places for the urban poor, they did little to maintain the housing
Before
states.
that, I was like a really free person. Then I came here. My parents don't allow me to go outside because it's too dangerous. I used to be able to do that, I'm not. So I'm more of an enclosed person, not really making friends that well.
Eventually, the poor maintenance of these housing estates led to the festering of crime, gangs, unsanitary conditions, and discontent. This is a clear contrast to what the intended construction of low-income housing was meant for.
This gang, have you guys ever heard of the 12 O'Clock Boys? They're like a motorcycle gang. They always come out like Saturday or Sunday, and they ride around, and they like shoot things and bother people a lot. And everyone buys these small motorcycles that they ride around the street, and there are a bunch of people getting into crashes.
Although efforts by the government have been made to not only improve housing, but build more units, problems in the system still remain.
I switched schools because of the risk at the schools, or the risk of my education or my life.
We opened our waiting list, and within a week we had 30,000 people on subsidized housing. It's a great tool, but in my years here, I have seen it become generational. Public housing funding has dried up at this point. This program allows us to place those units that are in public housing under the voucher program. Therefore, we would receive administrative fees, and it is still under subsidized. That means that a person pays 30% of their income.
The problem of low-income housing cannot be fixed with an easy solution. Necessary funds are not available, and it is not a widely discussed topic. Ironically, since it has been a major issue since the early 1940s. Beginning from there, homes have gone through endless repeats of the same cycle, beginning from newly built homes transitioning into homes not taken care of, not suitable for a person. While it is nowhere near on the level it should be, low-income housing has come a long way, as there are efforts to rebuild homes and maintain other programs that offer people in difficult situations a place to go to, a place that they may be able to call home.